Hey there, blade fans, and welcome back to another fixed blade show here. And I must say right up front, this is a cool little fixie that I've grown very fond of in the short time I've had a chance to play with it. And it is by Viper Knife Company, and it's called the Lille, if I'm saying that right, Lille 2, and it is in the Arctic Storm carbon fiber, and that's a AC, what do they call that? I'll tell you in a moment. Oh man, I'm sorry, FCA, so Fat Carbon Fiber Arctic, I think is what that acronym stands for. The Lille2 is this sheep's foot blade shape, and the Lille1 fixed blade is the same size knife with the same handle variations, only with a very deep belly Skinner style blade. And we're going to get into the measurements in a moment, but as you can see in my hand, if I back out, it's a small knife. But it was designed by either Jesper or Jesper Voxnaes. I'm not sure how to pronounce his first name, whether the J is pronounced or not. I believe he's a Danish knife designer, kind of like Mikkel Wilhelmsen is. Very foreign to those of us in the U.S. You know, we're not very not very wise internationally sometimes with the different cultures and languages. I'll leave it at that, at least speaking of myself. So I try to be informed, but yes, it's by Jesper or Jesper Voxnaes, and it's a very cool little knife. He is a master of small knives that hold big. So as you can see, with this cutout blade choil area with jimping in it, no less, we have a very comfortable place for the index finger, therefore the middle finger in the finger groove, and these two here, and it fits all four fingers in kind of a saber cross palm grip. Now, you could easily hold a knife this way, or back here, and still get the pinky on there with my medium-large hands. You could square up if you wanted to and hold it this way, and pretty much have a ramp for your thumb there with the jimping. So a nice file-like jimping there. Nice file-like jimping in the choil area. And let's take a look around. Look at that fat carbon fiber with the blue in it and the black and a turquoise. So it's like a light blue and a turquoise blue. Really, really nice. Milled out here with these steps. I'll call them steps. You can see those lines that are milled through there, give you a grip, and certainly the shape of the handle gives you a good grip. You've got plenty that goes into the palm, the hollow palm of your hand here in holding the knife. And of course you could choke up, and of course again you can use it this way, and the point lines up nicely, so you really only need maybe 30 degrees raising the handle to engage that point. Got a beautiful swedge going from the point up to the peak of the sheep's foot blade here, and it's a little bit of a belly and very sharp. And yes, this is made from Elmax, a high-end, high-quality steel. Looking at the HRC on it, they're listing it as 59 to 61. I'm not sure if that's a good range for Elmax or not. I always prefer a little harder, particularly if I'm not going to be prying with a knife and worried about snapping off the tip being too brittle. But this has got a good both pointy tip and stubby tip at the same time, meaning it's fine enough for detail work, but looks like it should hold up to a little bit of hard use. Gorgeous handle. We've even got jimping on the pommel. So if you cap it with your thumb and you want to hold it this way for either cutting or jabbing, you've got that. So 3 places of jimping: on the pommel, on the thumb ramp, and inside the choil area. Very, very cool. So a little knife that holds big. How little? Well, overall length is not going to be very long. Overall length is 6 3/4. Cutting edge of the blade, and I couldn't hang on there, could I? Is a little under 3 3/4. Overall length of the blade, 2 7/8 to the handle. Breaking out the trusty calipers here. Got a handle thickness of only 0.48 inches and a blade thickness of 0.12 into millimeters, 3.3 millimeters. So pretty good thickness for a small knife. And before we forget, let's get a weight on it. Knife only, 3.92, we'll call that 3.92. If we use this excellent Kydex sheath, which we'll get into in a moment, with Ulti-Clip, we have 5.38, rounding up. Still a very light knife. And let's look at it with the sheath. Kydex sheath, perfectly formed. Ulti-Clip, perfectly set up. And Ulti-Clips, by the way, if you haven't used them, do have a lot of tension on them, like an old suspenders clip, but they ain't letting go once you clip them on. And this one can clip down into the front side pocket up to about there with the handle sticking out, or inside the waistband or the belt, or leave the Ulti-Clip on or take the Ulti-Clip off, drop it in the pocket, and look what they give us. A very nice push off. Beautiful. And more we're seeing this in a pronounced form, but I've got a lot of sheaths where that thoughtfulness was missing and they didn't do that. You need that push off, particularly on small knives or any knife that you don't want to have to grab it and snap it out of the case or the sheath, but you want to just thumb it off. And I've had it in and out of the sheath about a dozen or more times, and not noticing any scratching, so it's a well-formed sheath. First thing I do with my Kydex sheaths when I get them, doesn't matter if it's from a custom maker or from manufacturer, I blow some compressed air into the hollow of that sheath and blow out any sand or hard particles that are going to abrade the blade. It depends upon whether you really care about scratches on the blade or not. This has got such a beautiful satin finish that I really hate to mar it up, at least not so quickly, right? So here we have the designer, Vox, short for Voxnaes, or Voxnaes, not sure how you pronounce that. Elmax steel, and name of the knife. A fair amount of branding, but kept reasonably small. It's not crazy. I mean, if you like Microtex, you may or may not like their branding, which is about as much billboarding as you'll see, and we sort of come to expect it now, so they've gotten us used to it. How about a compare? Good old trusty Street Beat by Spyderco. We've got a little shorter knife, 3/4 of an inch shorter than the Street Beat, The blade a little bit shorter as well. And the street bait 3.5-inch blade is generally small, or thought to be small. Here we have a really beautiful Williams, and I believe it is the mini Kydex, designed by Chris Williams, son of John, is it John Williams? James Williams. James Williams. John Williams is Boston Pops. 3/4 of an inch longer on this Japanese style blade, almost an inch longer. And overall, 3/4 of an inch. This is one of my favorite pocketable fixed blades. Deadly, pointy, and sharp, for sure. And notice that they also give you a pronounced push off for your thumb. Finally, from Kaiser, one of my favorites, if I can get it out of the case, because it's still tight, darn it. It is the Harpoon, a Maverick Customs design. Also a smaller fixed blade, but still significantly bigger than the Lille2. About an inch, inch and a quarter longer overall. But yeah, handles are about the same on them, just a longer blade. Very simple stick-like handle on this one. No jimping, but you have a pocket for your thumb there, which feels pretty good, holding it like that. And just for size comparison, next to the Griptilian. Griptilian's significantly larger, almost 2 inches overall, and close to about an inch, 3/4 of an inch for the blade. So is it small? Oh yes, it's small. But what a package. And just the most gorgeous fat carbon fiber on that handle. There are about 3 other handle selections, I think, maybe 4 altogether, maybe even more than that. I will give you the link to White Mountain, where you can get 10% off if you use my discount code OLDSWORD, all one word. What a beauty, huh? Really, really liking this one. Here we go, with the sheath. And that is the Lille2 by Viper Knives. Hope you enjoyed this review. Don't forget to give it a like and subscribe.